Hey everybody, welcome to Dev Spot Podcast. This is the first episode. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Some of the things we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about the Niners' third overall pick. We're going to be giving out my NBA awards for this season, and we're also going to be giving my all NBA teams and my all defensive teams. But before we start talking about sports and things like that, I wanted to discuss the Derek Chauvin case. I feel like that's been a very hot topic, a very big thing going on within the black community right now. And then a lot of the debate has been around, should we have celebrated the guilty verdict? Or, like, is that something that's, like, wrong for us to do? Or, like, how do we feel about that? So a lot of people are giving their opinions. Usually, people that know me know I'm good for a good Twitter debate. So usually I give my takes on there and things like that. But I kind of wanted to just give it on here since I knew I was starting this up. So first, for me, looking at it through the lens of a black man, raising a black son, soon to be two black sons in a few months, I took time to think about it, and I really do feel like it's something we should celebrate as a people. I really do feel like it's a positive thing. And for me, like, when I think about, like, black people, and I feel like there's so much built-in trauma that comes with being a black person. From learning about your history in school to then growing up and realizing that the things that they were saying in school was bad, but it was actually 100 times worse than that in real life. So to hear about that, and the things we heard in school was bad enough. Like, people shouldn't even have to deal with that, but to know that our people suffered way, way more than we're even taught, it makes you angry within yourself to let you know that they're not fully telling us our history. But then to even learn the history is saddened and is hurtful within itself. So when you look at all of that, and when you look at how this system has treated us for centuries, it's always let us down. This is not something that just started a couple years ago when the movement started going. No, this is stuff that's been going on. So we've been dealing with this. Our parents dealt with this, our grandparents, their parents, so it's generational trauma built in. There's generational anger that's been passed down based around the system, and rightfully so. But if we don't take the time to recognize when we've won or when we've had a good thing happen for us, we have to. If we don't take the time to celebrate that, all of the sadness, all of the anger, and all of the trauma is gonna overwhelm you. It's like, because I'm not at all saying like this is over. Like, we have a lot more to fight for. There's still many people being murdered by the police. There was many people murdered by the police while the trial was going on. So obviously we still have a bigger fight ahead of us. But if we don't take the time to look at the good and celebrate the wins and the happy moments, I don't know if we're gonna have the mental capacity to keep fighting. Because it's like, at some point it becomes overwhelming to have to deal with all of that and never have any good moments to relieve some of that. You have to relieve some of that stress and pressure and anger in order to build yourself back up to come back and continue to fight this good fight. So, in my opinion, I feel like as a people, we take some time to say, this is great that this happened. This is great that this family got this blessing that, not a blessing, but got this justice that a lot of other families haven't received. It's sad that, we're even discussing this, but for us to get to the point of this is not even happening at all, we have a long way to go, and we have a lot of fight left in us. So why not take a moment to say, oh yeah, this was a good thing. This is something that we could build on. This is something that's a positive thing, and let's try to build and get more of these positive moments. But we have to remember the good moments that we did have in order to build on it to get more of it. Another point I would have would be, this is a win that our people can look at and say, we contributed to this. We are directly responsible for this happening. I know there was a jury and they had to come up with their verdict and all of that, but this was something that was won by us, with the rioting, with the protesting and the rioting and people standing up and making their voices heard and letting them know that, as a people, we weren't going to keep standing for this. We were not going to let, him just walk for what he did to George Floyd. There was no way that this was not going to end this way if we had anything to do with it. And our voices came together and look at what we were able to do, what we were able to accomplish. Like it was really a beautiful thing. And for me, I'm all about uplifting our people. I'm all about moving our people forward. So for me, this isn't the end of anything, but this is a chance for a new beginning. It's a chance for us to look at each other and say, we haven't always looked out for each other maybe the way we should, but now here's our chance to do that. Here's our chance to grow as a collective. The days of, oh, you don't know something that I know, so I'm not gonna tell you so I could keep advancing more than you. The crab in the barrel mentality thing. Like a lot of that, we have to move out of that if we're gonna move forward as a people. And I feel like we have seen with this that with the George Floyd case, that if we come together, we cannot be stopped. So why not move that into every aspect of Black culture and in the Black community to make us great overall? We have to start uplifting each other, especially like, our Black women. Like they get talked about, like if it's a Black woman who's dresses nice, who's doing really well in her work, college educated, people will see her and she's confident and say, oh, she's bougie, or oh, she thinks she's better. Instead of, oh, she's a confident woman, she's so independent, like I'm proud of her, or, like I inspire to be similar to that when I get older, or things like that. We tend to look at it as a bad thing. And I feel like that's wrong, Our people are beautiful, our people are great, and there's nothing wrong with being confident in who you are and being confident in your greatness. And as a people, we've been told by so many other people how lesser than we are for so long. For a Black woman to get up in the morning and be able to look in the mirror and say, I'm the shit, or feel good about herself, that's a blessing. That's something as Black people we have to continue to push them in that direction of feeling that way, because they are great, they are beautiful, they are smart, and we have to make sure that they continue to feel like that. And we have to continue to uplift our Black men. We have to continue to do whatever we can. So when you look at this, think about like, what can I do to uplift my people? Like, what part can I play in advancing my people forward? For me, I was thinking about that this summer. Like, me and my fiance, we was donating money. We were going to protests, different things like that. But I just but what can I do directly to impact just as part of my community? And for me, I know about like financial literacy. I know about stocks and things like that. So I'm like, babe, what if I start a stock group chat? Like, what if I start that so that I could teach my friends and things like that, or we could all bounce ideas off each other about how to do a stock portfolio, how to gain financial literacy, how to gain generational wealth down the line. And that's a lot of stuff that us as Black people we don't talk about. So like, I was able to get about 30 people in there, and we were able to have the discussions, and that's not a huge number, but it was something that I felt good about as far as helping my people advance along. So, whether it's a huge thing or a small thing, like whatever you got in you that you feel passionate about, use that and let's do it. My trade workers, summertime's coming up. If you're a trade worker, how about on your way to work, stopping by Third Street University, classes being held, Cusada, on Plu, on Oakdale. Stop by and grab a couple young brothers, throw them in the car with you, and let them come see what it looked like to go to work every day and earn an honest living. Let them go with you and see what it looks like to take care of your family and to truly be there for not only your personal family, but for your community. Just let them see that you can make good money doing stuff other than, being in the streets. They don't see that enough. We don't talk about, I work in the school system. There's not a lot of talk about trade work. There's not a lot of talk about how good of a profession there is within the trades. So that would be huge, to go by there and see them and let them know, like, if you're not trying to go to college, I'm a person that pushed college, but I understand that there's 100 reasons why some of our kids won't be able to attend a university. If we're just being realistic, there's a lot of things holding a lot of our Black and brown youth back. So we have to let them know that there's other options to make money. You could be an engine, you could be an electrician, you could be a construction worker, and those are jobs that pay good money, that are respectable within their community. So, think about that and think about going by and seeing if they'll get in the car and go with you, rather than standing out there all summer learning some things they ain't got no business learning or doing. That's how you make your impact. And within this movement, there's going to be people that have a louder voice, and there's people going to get more recognition than others. But it shouldn't be about that for you. It should be about, I'm strictly just in this to move my people forward. Whether I'm getting a slap on the back, a pat on the back, or people is acting like I didn't, or they didn't even know what I did. It doesn't matter, because you know what you did, and the people that you've helped or the people that you impacted, they know what you did. And that's all that matters here. So, and I don't want to spend too much more time on this topic, but, you know, me being somebody that work with the youth, I have to say before I go, to the youth of San Francisco, like, you know, I'm so proud of you all for your role in the movement that went on this summer in San Francisco. At your age, at 16, 17, 18 years old, to be able to understand the gravity of the moment, to be able to get involved and in live action say, this is something that's wrong and this is what can I do to be impactful. I don't know, honestly, at 17, if I would have had that in me to be able to get up and lead a protest or stand on the front line of a protest. You know, I remember when these incidents was happening when I was younger, you know, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, I remember being so angry. I remember not really knowing, like, what to do. But, like, for you all to internalize that anger and turn it into something as powerful and as beautiful as what you all did this summer and continue to do throughout, is something that, as a city, we should all be proud of our youth and what they've done. And we all know, anybody that work in the school systems, you know for a fact that our black and brown youth get the short end of the stick 9 times out of 10. But anytime our youth is given a chance to shine, they always shine bright. And they always come through, and they always make everybody that know any of them super proud. So I couldn't move on from this topic without discussing the youth and your impact. You know, keep growing, keep pushing the cause, and keep fighting for the things you believe in. And as somebody that's raising 2 kids, I hope that I could raise my kids to be as courageous as you all are. And when it's topics that they feel passionate about, that they'd take the stance that you all took, and to be that passionate and to be that educated on the situation, do their research and know what's going on and know why this is impactful for not just today, but for the generations coming after them. For you to be 16 and be 17 and be talking about we have to fight for the generations afterwards, I wasn't even thinking about the people coming after me at that age. You know, my head was in a whole different mind frame. So that's super impressive, and you have to be applauded for that. So I just had to say that before we move on. If anybody have any takes on this, or if you disagree with something I said, or if you agree with something, you know, reach out to me. I love hearing people's opinions. I'm not somebody that's, it's my way or the highway. Like, we could talk about it. We could sit down. You know, I'm here for it. Just let me know. So now we're going to transition into the San Francisco 49ers, baby. Yes, sir. My guys came through. You know, I went on my guys' podcast, Rome and Steph, late last week, and I said, you know, I wouldn't have been supportive this season of the 49ers if we would have went with Mac Jones. The rumors were we was taking Mac Jones. You know, I'm an Alabama football fan, so I like Mac Jones. I respect what he did for us at Bama, but you don't trade 2 first-round picks and swap your current first-round pick to go up to get a player like Mac Jones. When you do something like that, that means you're going and you're swinging for the fences. You're going for a superstar caliber player. Mac Jones is going to have a decent career. He's going to be a good player. He's going to play for a long time, but he's not going to be a superstar. And Trey Lance, I don't know if you all seen my takes, but I love Trey Lance. I feel like he's special. I feel like he has the highest chance of being a superstar in this draft, even more than Trevor Lawrence. Like, he has stuff that some of the stuff he has, none of these other quarterbacks have or are capable of doing. And I don't care what school he went to, football is football. He can sling the rock. He's accurate. And like they said, I mean, he might not be ready to go day one. That's fine. We have Jimmy G. We didn't trade him. You know, everybody was saying the Patriots might come get him. They didn't. So he's staying on the roster. I feel okay about that. Like, I know I have a lot of friends that saying, like, we got to get rid of Jimmy G right now. But I don't think that. Like, my biggest problem with Jimmy is he can't stay healthy and he's not mobile. When the pocket collapses, he gets nervous, he starts shaking, and he takes too many sacks. Like, for a guy that's not as mobile, he never throws the ball away. Like, if he could just throw the ball away more, he would probably not get hurt as much. So it's like, but those are things that he won't change. It seemed like, I mean, we came back this year, even before he got hurt, he was showing that he had not changed, that he was still nervous in the pocket when it collapsed. And with the way the league is moving, you need a young mobile quarterback. The defensive, these edge rushers are too athletic. They coming out too fast. They're getting faster and faster. They're getting bigger and bigger. You need somebody that can make a game-changing play. Jimmy G is a guy that if everything is going good, if we're clicking, he's not going to mess the game up for us. He could help us win games, but he's not going to be the reason we win games. Trey Lance has the potential to be a guy that wins us games. The way Mahomes wins the Chiefs game. The way Deshaun Watson, not last year, but the year before, won Houston a playoff game. With just his pure will to win and his natural ability on his own. You know, we need a guy like that, a guy like Lamar Jackson. These type of guys are transcendent. Josh Allen. You know, we need somebody like that. And when you look at who was like that in this draft, it was Trey Lance. And we have a chance to win a Super Bowl. We need to go and win that. I believe in winning when you have the opportunity. I don't believe in saying, well, what's the best thing for 6 or 7 years down the line? Like, it's too many injuries in football. The salary cap is too constricted. You don't know who's going to be on your team in 5 years. You have about 2-3 years when you know you're really good, when you got people signed to go win. Before a lot of your rookies started having to get paid, you know, because we got a lot of contracts coming up. We got to pay Warner. We got to pay Bosa. So we got Kittle locked up. That's great. But we got money to go. So we have to win while these guys are still on these rookie contracts and they're producing at all pro levels. That's how you win Super Bowls in the NFL. You take some rookie contract players that have turned into all pro or close to all pro players and you go win you a Super Bowl. We had a chance 2 years ago. It didn't happen. I'm tired of it almost happening. Like, as a 49er fan, I was born the month after we won our last Super Bowl, so I've never witnessed us win a Super Bowl. I would like to see my team win a Super Bowl before I pass away. Please. And Trey Lance is going to get it done for us. So I'm excited about that. Like, you know, the draft is still currently going on as I'm recording this, so I won't go into too much details about the draft. I'll leave that for next week. I'm going to have 2 of my guys coming in, 2 of the best young football minds, I think, in my opinion, in the city. You know, 2 young coaches. So I'm excited about that. We're going to break down the draft. We're going to talk about what's going on in the league. We're going to talk about what's going on with city sports. So we got a lot of good topics on that. So I'm excited. So I'm going to leave it at that. But Trey area, we here. In Trey, we trust, baby. Yes, sir. So moving on. Now we get into the NBA awards. So for me, the first award I more like to do is the MVP award. So we have Joel Embiid and we have Nikola Jokic competing for it. For me, I went with Nikola. Basically, you got to look at the numbers. Embiid averaging 30, 11, and 3, if I'm not mistaken. And Nikola's averaging 26, 11, and 8. So when you look at the numbers, they're both putting up great numbers. But for me, Joel Embiid did miss 20 games this season. And in a shortened season of only 72 games, that's over 25% of the games. For me, personally, you cannot miss 25% of the games and be the MVP. No matter, like, his season would have to have been, like, so much better than anybody else. And I feel like Nikola was too close for him to get the award missing that many games. Nikola's played every game this season. He's lost his second best player, and they had the best record in the month of April. They were 14-3 in the month of April. So that's super impressive. Like, you know, a lot of people, including me, thought once Jamal Murray got hurt, they were probably going to take a little slide. But they've been staying consistent. You know, he's been keeping a minute, putting up monster numbers. I feel like he deserves it. Also, they'll tell you, oh, well, the Sixers are first in the East, or they've been first or second in the East all year. La, la, la. Denver is fifth in the West. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, that's fine. But when you look at the record, they're sitting there currently with the same record. They're both 42-21. So if they have the same record, I'm not going to penalize Nikola for having a tougher conference. That's just not something that I could do. And you look at it, 26, 11, and 8. Like, think about how many players in the whole NBA could give you 26, 11, and 8 for a whole season. I mean, maybe Russell Westbrook. Not maybe. Russell Westbrook could do it. Nikola. The only two other guys that I could possibly think of right now would be maybe Luka or Giannis, but I don't see Luka ever being able to give you 11 assists. 11 rebounds on every game for a whole season. I don't see that. And I don't know if Giannis could be able to get up to 8 assists. What he's doing this year is amazing, but I think this is about the ceiling for him as far as assists go. Like 5, 6 assists, that's really impressive for the game he plays. I don't think he's going to be able to get to 8. So when you look at that and say it's only 1 or 2 guys in the league that could do what he's done this season, you have to go with him. And I know for a lot of people, it's Embiid. He fits the mold. Like, he looks like the prototypical center. He looks like the guy that we grew up thinking an NBA center should look like. And Nikola doesn't look like that. He doesn't even look like he should be in the NBA. Like, if we being honest. But we have to get over that and realize he's one of the best players in the game, and he deserves this award for sure this year. Moving right along, we got Defensive Player of the Year. This award isn't as close as the MVP for me. Ben Simmons, I feel like, ran away with this award. What he's doing this year on defense, 1 through 4. Some games he going 1 through 5. Like, he guarding one game the point guard, one game the small forward, one game the power forward. Whoever your best player is, that's who he matches up against. And he does a good job night in, night out. Like, this is one of the better defensive seasons we've seen from a star caliber player in a while. Like, he's not a guy that's just strictly known for playing defense. So for him to be like a guy that's known as an all-star level caliber player, I don't know too many other all-star level guards that can do what he do on the defensive end, night in, night out. So I don't even think this should be discussed too much more. It is what it is. Ben Simmons is that guy this year. Well, for Rookie of the Year, I know everybody. I know in real life they're going to give it to Anthony Edwards. Okay, that's cool. But here at Dev's Spot, we only recognize LaMelo Ball as Rookie of the Year. There's no way you could say what he's done wasn't enough to win it. He was leading rookies in points, assists. He was up there in rebounds. He was dominating. That was him coming off the bench. Once he got moved into the starting lineup, they started winning games. He was averaging over 20 points, and they were 4th in the East. After he got hurt, they then slid all the way down to barely staying into the playoff tournament. They like 8, 9, hovering around there, Washington coming on hot. So, like, they're right there. So it's like, that's not what should happen when you lose a rookie. The Lakers lost LeBron James and Anthony Davis and has failed 4 or 5 spots. That's to be expected. Those are 2 of the best players in the NBA and 2 of the best players we've ever seen. This is a rookie, and that's the impact he had on this team. And a team that's notoriously bad. Like, the Hornets have been bad for a long time, and he had them competing. There's no way, like I said, Anthony Edwards been good this year. He didn't start to come on, but like, him coming on went from the worst team in the NBA to the second worst team in the NBA. Like, not to be disrespectful, but it's just like, what are we talking about here? He's not doing the things that LaMelo Ball is doing. And it's not a disrespect. They're going to both have great careers, but LaMelo is showing he has generational type talent that he could, if he tap into it, he could definitely be a generational player, in my opinion. So there's no way he's not. Most Improved Player, another runaway award. Julius Randle. He's been dominant all year, man, for the New York Knicks. Like, that's not getting talked about enough. Like, the Knicks, we all know how bad the Knicks franchise has been for years and years and years. So for him to be doing what he's doing and doing it while getting the most attention in New York with that media, and he's still dominating, like, there's no way he's not Most Improved. And when you look at it, his numbers, he went from, I think, 19-7 last year to now he's averaging 24-10. So that's only a 5-point increase and a 3-rebound increase. So it's not like crazy numbers. But if you really know basketball, you can see like his impact on the game. His 24 is way more impactful than that 19 he was getting last season. So that when you look at it from that point, from that perspective, then it's like it's not even up for discussion. is his award. Moving along, we have our All-NBA teams. My first team All-NBA, my first guard. First, let me say, for this award, for these lists, I did my best to try to reward winning. It's two players that made the list, even though their teams aren't that good. But I explain why in a minute. But for the most part, those other 13, I feel like all impacted winning and has made a positive impact on the team overall. Whether it's when they miss, they look terrible without him, or when they play and they look spectacular, So the first guy is one of the exceptions to the rule, the one and only Steph Curry. Steph Curry has to make the list here, man. What he's been doing this year has been amazing. To lose the players he's lost to injuries, to free agency or to trades and things like that, and to still be putting up the numbers he's putting up with no spacing on the floor. There's no shooting. Sometimes he be the only shooter on the court that you're actually scared of, So, and he's still giving you 30 points, shooting 10 threes a game or more every game, and averaging 50% or better from the field. That shouldn't even be possible. To shoot that many threes and average 30, and you're getting double teamed and you getting full court pressed the whole game. You running around, everybody's paying attention to you. Sometimes it's 3 people on you and you still doing the things you're doing and just had the shooting month you had. There's no way he's not first team All NBA to me. And I know they 10th in the West right now, but he's been this month something that I don't think we'll ever see again. Somebody to shoot that well at that efficient of a clip is something that we have to be amazed. The second player on this list is the most underrated player in basketball, my guy Damian Littler. He puts up numbers year after year. His team is consistently good. This year, C.J. McCollum was hurt. Nurkic is always hurt, and he just continued to ball. I know he play in Portland, so it's not a big market. So a lot of people don't give him the shine he deserves if you're not a true hoop fan. But he's the second best point guard in basketball, and I think he needs to start getting his recognition. Next, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. This season, he's averaging 28, 11, and 6. I know he won the last 2 MVPs, so a lot of people ain't talking about him because of voter fatigue or whatever, but this is a dominant season for him. And for him to be really, truly a big, and average 6 assists, that's really impressive. I feel like he's been really good. I actually like the Bucks a lot more this year than I did last year for sure. So, Giannis is having a great year. Obviously, my MVP, Nikola Jokic, is going to be my first team center. And last but not least, the last 4 spot, I gave it to Kawhi Leonard. I feel like, last year with them getting upset in the playoffs, I feel like he knew he had to come out and show and have a good year. So he didn't have a pretty good year, I feel like, on both sides of the ball. He's scoring again at a high clip. He's defending again. He's doing everything that you would want from your best two-way player. So I think he definitely deserved that nod for this year for the first team. Moving on to our second team. The first guard here is my guy, Luka Magic, man. This guy is special. And I just think back to the beginning of the year where everybody was, oh, my God, Luka's struggling. Oh, my God, they're not going to make the playoffs. Come on now. The guy is special. And at the end of the day, what we got to understand is everybody looking for the next LeBron. The next LeBron, oh, where is he? Where is he come from? He's here. His name is Luka Doncic. He is the next LeBron as far as, everything except for the athleticism. If you could get by LeBron crazy vert, then this is the guy for you. You know what I'm saying? When you think about LeBron being able to dominate the game, being able to think the game out, being able to control tempo, control pace, that's Luka. Luka goes at his own pace all game. Nobody can stay in front of him. And even though he's not as physically dominant as LeBron, he's still able to get anywhere he want to go, get any shot he want at any time. And he's also 6'8". So, when you look at it, for his career, Bron is averaging 27, 7, and 7. So he's one of the most, if not the most complete player the NBA has ever seen. So when you think about all these people that you're saying is the next LeBron, Zion, he'd never be the facilitator that LeBron is. So he'd never have the court vision. So, he's probably a better rebounder than LeBron, and he'd be probably on close to a little bit underscored than LeBron. But he'll never be able to pass like him. You know what I'm saying? People say Giannis. Giannis is the next Shaq with a little bit of guard ability. He's not the next LeBron. You know, the next LeBron. And also Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons can pass the ball. He can rebound, but he can't score like LeBron. He's not. None of these players have the complete game that LeBron has. The only one that has it is Luka. The only one that could think about even matching LeBron and being probably top 2 in scoring when he finished, probably one, top 5 in rebounds, and top 5 in assists. Luka is on track to do that. Like I said, Bron averaged 27, 7, and 7. Luka for his career, if I'm not mistaken, is averaging 25, 9, and 8 right now. Or 25, 8, and 8. So he's already averaging one more rebound, one more assist, and he's on par with what LeBron was doing in his third year in the league. Because I think he averaged about 24, 25. That was his career average 3 years in because of their rookie seasons. So he's on track to do it. If he stay healthy, it's his league in a couple years, and he's going to be his for a long time. Like, LeBron had it for a decade. Luka's about to have it for a while, man. So get ready to see a generational talent take over. Second, we have this guy right here has a strong case for first team, in my opinion, but I can't overlook early this season. James Harden is my second guard. What he did early in the season in Houston, like, I get it. He looked at the roster. He seen John Wall, and he realized that they thought this shit was 2K. This shit is not 2K, and that was not going to work. John Wall is done, no disrespect, but he knew he wasn't going to be able to win a championship with him. But I just, at the end of the day, can't reward a player just showing up like he just didn't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? He showed up to one game looking like T. Grizzly. Like, I can't reward that with a first team All-NBA, but he has to be on the list due to what he was doing when he got to Brooklyn. He was dominant. And for about a month, he was looking like the best player in basketball for like this season. He was looking like the MVP favorite if it wasn't for what he did in Houston. So he could not be on the list, but I just couldn't reward him with a first team All-NBA selection. I understand that they do in real life, but I just not here at Dev Spot. No, I can't do it for him. Moving on to the forwards, we have LeBron James. He coming in at the small forward spot. This one was tough at first because a lot of, since they talk about LeBron every day on TV, it seemed like he'd been out a lot longer than he had. But when I checked the numbers, he had only been out 6 or 7 games more than Kawhi. So with it being that close, I thought it would be unfair to have him any lower than second team. With the numbers he's putting up, what he was doing before he got hurt, obviously what LeBron is, he was dominating like he usually do. So I just felt like it would be unfair to have him any lower than second team. This next selection, my center is Joel Embiid, which it's unfair that my MVP runner-up got to be second team, but you can only have one center on each team, so, I already spoke on Joel Embiid and his dominance, so second team All-NBA. In this last spot, I feel good about this pick, my guy Julius Randle. I feel like if you look at the numbers, if you look at the impact, you cannot tell me there has been 10 basketball players better than him this season. I don't care about the popular, who's more popular, who sells more jerseys. He's putting up having a great season. He out here playing point forward. This is the Knicks' first winning season since 2012, 2013, when I was a senior in high school. So that was so long ago. So it's you can't overlook that, and especially with the attention that you get being a New York Knick and was winning. And after he started getting attention, started to even do better and put up even better numbers. So he didn't shy away from it. And he got these guys playing inspirational basketball. There's no way he is not a second team All-NBA player. Moving on to third team. Third team was really tough, especially for the guards. It's about, in my opinion, 6 or 7 guards that I can make a strong case for these last 2 spots, based on what they've done this year, based on the numbers and all of that. But for me, I went with winning. And my first guard is Donovan Mitchell. At the end of the day, he averaging over 26 points a game. I think it's 26, 5, and 4 on his team, being the best team in the NBA all year. So there's no way the best player on the best team could get left off of an All-NBA selection. That's just not what we're doing. And he also baby D Wade, so, I got to show him love here at Dev Spot. Second guy, this is a guy that for years he been putting up great numbers, he been getting buckets, and all y'all been saying is, oh, well, when he win, we're going to give him some love when he win. Well, now my guy's winning we here to collect on this love. So D-Book, third team All NBA. I don't care what people say. I understand the Chris Paul point. I understand saying he's changed them a little bit, but he's not the sole reason that they're winning games. He's brought leadership. He's brought vet experience. But if you've been watching the Suns all season, Devin Booker has been putting on and been leading the way. Right along with CP. Don't get me wrong, CP's been up there too, but Devin Booker deserves to get some love. And with his numbers, he averaging over 25 a game. He's been doing that for like the last 3 or 4 years. And it's time to show him some love. He just caught Utah for the best record in the NBA. Y'all said when he win, y'all show it to him. We here to get that love. Moving on to the forwards, we have PG. You know, everybody know about playoff P and all of the struggles. So I think he know like he gotta perform this year. It's not even, there's no excuses that can be had. He didn't have no last minute injuries that he could blame. You know what I'm saying? He's looking healthy. They looking like they good to go. They finally got a playmaker that they needed. I think that he gonna show a lot of people who he is in this playoffs, but we gotta wait and see. But I feel like for the season, him and Kawhi both have stepped up to the plate, and they've stepped up on both ends. So third team All NBA for sure. This next guy is the second exception that I was talking about earlier, Zion Williamson. I know his team isn't that good. They're young. They still learning how to win. But if you look at just what he's doing, averaging 25 points on over 60% shooting, like that's crazy. And he's not like some 7'2" center or 7'3". Like he's like 6'7", 6'8". And I know he's physically dominant, but these guys are huge, and he's still out there dominating every game. And I think they say this is the highest field goal percentage ever of somebody averaged over 25 or more. You know, they had a graphic with him, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaq, and Kevin McHale, and he was at the head of the list. So for me, when you can be at the head of a list of the 2 greatest centers, in my opinion, all time, and I think, let's say the 6th best power forward of all time, you know, all Hall of Famers, I feel like that's saying something, and he only in his, second year? Like, you know what I'm saying? So he's a special player, you know. If it wasn't for Luka, he would be the face of the NBA coming up, but, you know, he's still going to have a dominant career. He's going to be one of the best for some years and years to come. And then last for third team, we have Crybaby as Gobert. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of him. You know, I feel like he be whining too much to be that big, and, you know, he cried his way into some all-star selections, if you're asking me. But he on the best team in the league, and he's one of the best defenders. So, and you needed 3 centers, so I had to go with him. There's nobody else really in his lane this year. I'm praying Minnesota get the number 1 pick so they could get Cade, so Karl-Anthony Towns can get his spot back as a top 3 center. But right now, we're going with Gobert. Anything on defense, I give it to him. But for All NBA, I'm not that happy about this, but we giving unbiased takes here at Dead Spot, so there we go. Those are my All-NBA selections. Can't wait to hear your all opinion on that. Quickly, I'll give you my all-defensive team before we wrap it up for this evening. First team, all-defense, we have the Defensive Player of the Year, Ben Simmons. Like I said, his versatility on defense has been crazy. He's been locked in. This next guy, the biggest offseason pickup, Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is second most underrated player in NBA, I feel. This guy is a baller, man, on both ends of the court. What he bring to the Bucks this year, I really feel make them dangerous. And giving them that second wing perimeter scorer, that second perimeter defender, he stepped up big for them. And I feel like Giannis appreciate what he brings to the table. He talked about it a couple times already. So I think Drew Holiday definitely deserved to be first team all defense. Moving along, we have Giannis. Like I said, what he's doing this year has been slept on because of he's already been so awarded and things like that, but he's been one of the top 5 players on both ends of the court. And that's nothing new. He's been like that for the last couple of years now, but he continues his dominance. And I'm impressed that he hasn't had any drop-off or, you know, any decline. He's just still going, still pushing, still trying to get better. So I respect that, and he's first team for me. Then we have my Miami Heat guy, Bam Adebayo. I don't think there's 3 big men in the league that's as versatile on the defense as him. The way he switch out on perimeter and could guard your point guard, could guard your two. You know what I'm saying? He's not a liability on any switches. He to protect the rim. He rebound. He do all you can. He do the dirty plays, the hustle plays. I'm as a Miami Heat fan, I love Bam Adebayo, and I just feel like hopefully he get the recognition he deserves. But yeah, he's been dominant. He's for sure been great. And then obviously Gobert, best defender on the best team. So okay, Gobert here. There we are. Second team. This was kind of tough. I was thinking between Marcus Smart and Dennis Schroeder for this first spot, but Dennis Schroeder has played, I think, 15 more games. So I had to go with Dennis Schroeder for the first spot here. Another player, Kawhi Leonard, like I said, he's been dominant on both ends of the court. He deserves to be on this list and get his claim back as the top or one of the top two-way players in the NBA. Moving right along, we have Joel Embiid. If Joel Embiid, I feel like if he would have played a little bit more, few more games, he would have had a strong case, I feel like, for first team all defense. He's been dominant too on both ends, so that was another reason why he might have got MVP, because of the defense that Nikola doesn't play. If he would have played more games, I feel like he could have been first team all defense for sure. These next two guys is like guys that I feel like don't get no recognition but deserve it. This first guy, if he don't make all defense, then I feel like we shouldn't even have the award no more. Like, we should just say, let's pick the most 10 popular players that we know that at one point in their career played defense. Because if we're not picking the players that's playing defense currently, then what are we doing? So if Miles Turner isn't on this list somewhere, I wouldn't have a problem if he was first team. I mean, he's leading the league in block shots. The defense looked night and day for his team when he's there versus when he's not there. If you really watch their games, you'll see what he does for them on the defensive end. He's everything for them. So, well, not everything. They have Brogdon on the perimeter, but as far as down low, he brings a lot to the table. And he didn't get voted in here last year, which was a travesty because he was one of the top players in blocks last year. But he's not a big name, so hopefully he can get the recognition he deserves. Miles Turner, you deserve it. And lastly, but sure not least, Bay Area guy playing for the Warriors, man, my guy, Andrew Wiggins, get my last spot. At the end of the day, man, Andrew Wiggins has been great this season from what you could ask of a player replacing who he replaced. If you look at the Warriors over the last 2 years, they done lost Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson to injury, and Iguodala. 3 of their 4 best defenders, their 2 best perimeter defenders, and they bring in Andrew Wiggins and say, hey, man, you got to guard the best player on the other team every night, and we need you to be our second leading scorer. And he stepped into that role, and like I said, the Warriors in 10th, but they wouldn't even be close to the play-in tournament if it wasn't for the contribution that Wiggins had this year to the team. And it's not like teams like the Clippers, for example. Like, that's why I picked him over PG, because if somebody's getting hot on PG, he could switch and let Kawhi get a turn. And he could switch and let Marcus Morris get a turn. Andrew Wiggins don't have nobody to switch with. He has to just take that. So, like, if last week I think Luka gave it to him. But, I mean, in the league where there's 19 guys averaging 25 points right now, and the 20 of guys averaging, Jaylen Brown's averaging 24.9. So it's basically 20 guys averaging 25 or more this year in the NBA. You're gonna have nights where people go off on you. It's just, there's no defender in the history of NBA, perimeter defender, that could come and just not get a 30-piece or a 40-piece some point throughout this season, because there's just too many scores. You're not gonna be able to have your best every night. So I feel like what he brought to the table, what he done, he had never been able to replace Klay. Like, I mean, he's not that good, but I mean, what he's done this year has been amazing, and I feel like he deserves to get the recognition of being here on my second team all defense. Well, everybody, we wrapping it up here. I hope everybody enjoyed what you've heard here. We talked about a few different things. If you have anything you want to add or you want to talk about in any one of the topics, please reach out to me on my Twitter, DevSpot Podcast, Instagram, DevSpot Podcast. Reach out to me. Hope I could get a follow from you all. See you next week. Like I said, we're going to be having 2 of my good friends come in, 2 of my brothers, football coaches, 2 of the best young minds. We're going to chop up game on football, all football, NFL, college, high school sports in the city, just different things like that. So tune in. It should be a great episode. You know, it's my first time doing this. You know, I've never done nothing like this, so hopefully you all enjoyed it. I will be getting better as we go along. Thank you all for watching. Gone.